You have to convert words over to algebraic expressions, and here's a list of things that may help you. If you see is in a sentence, that is the symbol equals. Product means multiply, or of means multiply. Like if you hear 3% of 20, that means take 3% or 0.03 times 20. Twice the number means twice that unknown number, let's say x, 2x. Double the number, 2x, same thing. Difference means to subtract. Summing two numbers means to add them. Let's try this one. 4 less than a number. Well, the unknown number x, we subtract 4 from that unknown number, x minus 4. Quotient means to divide. How about this one? 5 less than twice a number. That means 5 is subtracted off of twice an unknown number, x, so 2x minus 5. Twice 5 less than a number. Well, 5 less than a number is 5 subtracted from x, and then twice that, so 2 times that quantity. 4 less than 3 times a number would be 4 subtracted off of 3 times that unknown number x. Let's go ahead and do some problems. Now these are just basic. Start off with giving you the equations and you just need to solve them. It says the model y equals negative 35 halves L plus 195 describes the respiratory rate y in units of breaths per minute for sheep whose wool length is L centimeters long. Find the wool length of a sheep whose respiratory rate is 125. Well, y stood for the respiratory rate, so my first step is to substitute the 125 in for y. So I did that right here. Now to get rid of this fraction, I multiply everything by the common denominator of 2. And let me scroll up here. And multiplying everything by 2, I get 250. And then the 2 times minus 35 is negative 70 divided by 2 is negative 35, or you could have said 2 goes into 2 one times the negative 35 is negative 35L, and 2 times the 195 is 390. Now I added 35 to both sides to get my 35 on that side, and I subtracted the 250, and I got 35L equals 140. Divide through by 35 and you get L equals 4. So apparently sheep whose wool length is 4 centimeters long have an average respiratory rate of 125 breaths per minute. I guess they're hot sheep. Next example here. This example says that the forestry officials use a mathematical model to determine the damage potential to a particular area in case of fire. The formula is D equals 2A plus V, where D is the damage potential, A is the average age of the brush in the area, and V equals the value class of the area. The higher the number, the greater the value. So find the average brush age in a certain region. So on this region 1 here, it says the damage potential, D, is 8. So I'm going to substitute the 8 in for D. The value class is 6, a high value class there, 6, and we're supposed to find the average brush age, A. So I substituted the 8 in for D and the 6 in for V, give me this equation here. Then I just subtract the 6 from both sides, give me 2 equals 2A, divide through by 2, and I get A equals 1. So the average brush age for this region, region 1, would be 1. And let's go on to the next problem. You can do region 2 yourself. Okay, the next problem says the formula for the cost of mailing a package is C equals 0.32 plus 0.7 times the quantity W minus 1, where C is the cost and W is the weight. It says, what must the weight of a package be if the cost of mailing it was $10? Well, it's telling you the cost C, so I'm just going to substitute the 10 in for C, and I get this equation. I'm going to go through this equation twice. First of all, just leaving the equation as it is, I would distribute the 0.7 through the W minus 1, which gives me 0.7 W, and the 0.7 times the minus 1 is minus 0.7. Now, combine like terms here, the 0.32 minus the 0.7 is a negative 0.38. Now, I added the 0.38 to both sides, and I got 10.38 equals 0.7 W, and then finally divide both sides by 0.7, and you would get 14.83. Now, if you're allowed to use a calculator, then doing 10.38 divided by 0.7 isn't a problem at all. But if you're not allowed to use a calculator, then you may want to solve the problem using this method. Here's the original equation again, and I notice that I have at the most 2 decimal points to the right. So what I'm going to do is multiply by 100. If I only had 1 decimal point to the right, I would multiply by 10. 2 to the right, I multiply by 100. 3 to the right, I would multiply by 1,000. So it goes up powers of 10, and the reason you do that is it gets rid of all your decimal points. So I multiply everything by 100. 10 times 100 is 1,000. 0.32 times 100 is 32, no decimal point here. And 100 times 0.7 is 70. Now, dealing with this, I have no decimals. So I'll take the 70 through, and I get 70W minus 70. Combine the like terms here, and I get negative 38. Add the 38, and I get 1,038, and now divide by 70. And now we're just dividing whole numbers, and you'll get 14.83. This problem, it says the length of a rectangle is 5 feet less than twice the width. If the perimeter of the rectangle is 50 feet, what is the area of the rectangle? Well, this is a pretty tough problem here. We start off with the idea that the length is equals 5 feet less than, or 5 feet taken away from, twice the width, 2W. Okay. If the perimeter is 50 feet, okay, perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the width plus 2 times the length, because it's all the way around the rectangle, and you have 2 lengths and you have 2 widths going up and down. So that's the perimeter. Now, it tells you that the perimeter is 50, so I substitute the 50 in for P. Now I'm going to actually solve this for one of the variables. It doesn't really matter which one, but actually first what I'm going to do is substitute what I know into this. For example, I know that the L up here is equal to 2W minus 5, so I can substitute that 2W minus 5 in for the L. Okay, so I'm just going to substitute the 2W minus 5 right in here for the L. So then that would give me this equation right here. Now I can solve this equation. So taking the 2 through, I get 4W minus 10. Combining the like terms, I get 6W. Now adding the 10 to both sides, I get 60 equals 6W, and divide through by the 6, I get W equals 10. So I know the width is 10, but I didn't want to know the width, I wanted the area. To get the area, I'll also need to know the length. So I'm going to substitute the 10 that I just figured out in for the W on the equation here that's solved for L. So I'm going to substitute this 10 right in there for that W. So I'm substituting the 10 into that equation. So that would be 2 times 10 minus 5, which is 15. So the length is 15. So now to get the area, just multiply your length times your width on a rectangle, and you'll get 150 square feet. If it was a triangle, I would have to take 1/2 the length times the width is the area of a triangle. Actually, we think of it on a triangle as 1/2 the base times the height. And that will do it for this video.